Mavens is here, and we're here to talk about the early November 2022 metagame of Ishizu coming to ruin the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. If you don't see X deck on here, it's probably because I didn't think it deserved to make the list, or I didn't want to talk about it, or maybe I just forgot something. So this is post Magnificent Mavens. There are going to be a couple choices on this list that you're going to be like, huh? But yeah, that's just kind of how it's going to start things off here. So, Sword Soul. I'm going to put Sword Soul at tier 2. Now, the reason why we're going to start with Sword Soul is this is kind of the benchmark to how we kind of evaluate the format right now. And I want to use Sword Soul as that benchmark to say that while this deck is incredibly impressive, and it's definitely been one of the better go-to strategies for the most part, it's still too fair, in my opinion. So I'm going to put it at the benchmark for what will separate the better decks from, you know, everything else, in my opinion here. Now, Mystical Mind, this is an interesting one because on a local level, this deck, I mean, I guess we'll use this for Mystic Mind Burn instead, but if you were to use Mystic Mind as a card itself, it's still absolutely amazing. But I think Mystic Mind Burn, I would have to put in, it's not, I guess tier, we'll put it in Rogue. I know that's going to be, somebody's going to be like, well, Robbie, what's the difference between like tier 2 and Rogue? This can top regionals. I haven't seen this really topping regionals and really performing kind of up to the standard that I would say. Mathmech, I know somebody's going to, I'm going to put Mathmech in tier 2. Now, I think the deck is better than Sword Soul, but I don't think it's tier 1.5 anymore. Honestly, after the recent YCS, I think a lot of things became very apparent with this deck, that now that the buy steel cards have entered into the format, this deck now has a much larger check on its back. Now, that being said, for a locals level, I think you can still do well with this, and it's just kind of that. So I'm going to be a little bit harsher on this because it's definitely fallen from its, you know, glory that we've had here. Now, Despia. Now, Despia with tier has been the go-to variant for quite some time. We've definitely seen that package has done its thing, but I think now that we have the power scaling change here within the format, I think that this variant, I think it, well, okay, so if it's with tier, I think we got to put it like 1.75. We'll put it here for a potential slot, all right? We'll come back to this. Crystal Beast, this deck has rogue potential, for sure. I've seen Conclave Control. Honestly, the whole deck is Conclave Control. It's all it really is. I think that the deck performs relatively well on a local level. For a YCS, you're not gonna do well for 9-10 rounds, but for a 4-rounder, you can see this deck do okay. Quite honestly, I think this deck does pretty good. Black Wings. So, I've seen Black Wings top a couple case tournaments. I've seen this deck top a couple of locals. I'm going to put it in the rogue category, to be honest with you. I think that if you're not fully aware of what this deck can do, that this deck will catch you pretty off guard. And that's going to be a big issue right now. So that's one big thing. Tier. So this is tier without the Ishizu package. Honestly, pure tier. Compared to the rest of the format that's going to come here, I think we put this in 1.5 because it is not better than some of the other variants. All right, and I'll explain myself a little bit more here. Shangri-La. Okay, so Shangri-La post Photon Hypernova is another monster, but right now this deck is actually, I'm going to put it in tier 2. I think that this deck has a lot of potential. I think a lot of people are going to they're going to be caught off guard with this. I started, before Photon Hypernova came out, this deck started to see a little bit of a takeoff in the OCG. And I think the same thing might happen here in the TCG, where more people will look at this as a rogue competitor until that point of the new stuff coming out. So we'll have to wait and see with this. I think this has potential. I think that this deck is going to be a monster. Post Ishizu, post Bysteel cards, you will see an emergence of a few Naturia players. As an anti-meta pick, I think that this deck is so cool. All right, I'm definitely going to put this in 1.5 for now. Subject to change, though. Only because I want to see the hype that people are talking about with this. Eldritch, the deck tops case tournaments, so does Math Mech, so does Sword Soul. I'm going to put it in tier 2. I think Shatrila is better than Sword Soul, though. I think it's better than... I said we are going to use this as the benchmark, but, like, poor deck. Dragon Maid with Bysteel cards. I'm going to put this in Rogue. I think this deck is really, really cool, to be honest with you. I think that a lot of the cool things that it can do, I mean, obviously, Saronir and friends definitely carry this deck a very long way. Exosister. I want to put this in We Tried. So bad. Is it better than Math Mech? Yeah. We'll put it in 1.5. It's such a weird place to put this because, like, actually, we'll put it back here. This deck, even though it should be doing well, hypothetically, post Ishizu, it should do better. We'll have to wait and see. Empen and Friends, I guess 1.5. After the performance out of the last YCS, it's still pretty much one of those Rogue Buster decks. So I guess we'll put it here. Dragon Link without Bysteel cards. That's how We Tried for me personally. I think you need those Bysteel cards to get this deck off of the ground and get it running. Bysteel Dragon Link. Is it better than Exosister? I don't think so. I'm gonna... Man, putting it at tier 2 doesn't feel right. We'll put it at like 1.75, honestly. I'm seeing the pain and the sufferings coming here. Adventure Sprite. 1.5, I think. The Sprite Evil Twin list, it's definitely worse than that, that's for sure. We'll put that there. Sprite Runic, I'm going to put it tier 1. I think overall that this is by far probably one of the better variants out there, for sure. Like, this deck is really, really good. Solid Pure Sprite, I think, is better than whatever we're doing here, for sure. So, it's very interesting to say that, because your Nimble Angler package is really good. Tier Adventure. I don't know who's playing this, but I think it's like the worst of the variants, honestly. We're going to put that back here. I don't like that variant. Runic Tier, I guess I'll put back here as well. The Vice of Starfrost build, ugh, that's a back here in the Rogue category. Let's see here. Runic with the Ishizu package. I think this deck's going to be a real monster. I think a lot of people are going to be caught off guard by this variant, and they're going to be like, what is going on here? And Ishizu tier is projected to be the best deck. Like, I shouldn't need to tell you, like, what's coming here, because this deck is going to be a monster. Like, you're going to look at this deck, and you're going to be like, what in the world is going on here? Runic, without the Ishizu package, I'm still going to put it down here in tier 2. I think that this deck on a local level is crazy. I also want to put the Draco Slayer Pendulum deck in... We'll put it up here. I think that this deck has a little bit of a need to be explored right now. I think once it becomes explored, I think a lot of people will definitely like the combo package for this. Alright, I think this deck's got a lot of potential. Sky Striker, I guess we put in We Tried, or in Rogue. The problem is the Bysteel cards tear this deck apart, and that's kind of like my problem with it right now. I really do like the idea of the deck, but it's just kind of that, alright? And then we also have the Rika deck. I'm going to put Rika down here in Rogue, because quite honestly, I think that this deck still has some decent potential going forward here, but it's just kind of fallen off the face of the map. So, guys, that is our tier list for early November. What do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.